So it's a great gift to have this community to practice with, and I think we're building a real kind of field of intention between us. So I want to invite you to call on all of your generosity, to give what you can, to give what wants to come through you, and to just well, you know, I like to take a look around the Zoom room and kind of make a commitment to each face here, and really open up to the gift of this synergy, this kind of magic that we're in, and open. You know, I always want to sort of open to the possibilities that are here, and you know, there's something about seeing these faces which are filled with, you know, expectancy. You know, it's like, oh, what can happen in this Kzoom, and
that's never happened before.
And so we're, you know, want to open up to the blessing of this moment. And I know there's people here from Argentina and Australia and maybe some other interesting places we are gathering in the world. And so, you know, I take advantage of this time to share whatever I happen to be obsessed with in the moment. And there's this thing that happened to me on Tu B'Av, which was last week, a holiday of love. I sat down to meditate, and I was just flooded with an instruction, and it was very big, and I just totally surrendered to it. So, and I want to use tonight to be a kind of a launch, a sharing of that big thing that came into me, instruction for what needs to come into the world, or what maybe our piece is in the web of transformation, that, you know, what we can bring as in this community. So so a number of years ago, I don't remember what year it was, I started to really get that the Song of Songs
2003.
Thank you. Was the answer to many of to like all of my questions, and I knew that that Judaism really was for me a path of love, And I was, from a young child, and when I heard those words, that you shall love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and I said, how? How do I do that? I know, but how do I do that? And then when I really discovered Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, I said, oh, this is how. And the more that I learned about it, the more I sort of grew obsessed with that. This is the answer. Love is the answer. Relationship is the answer. It's like I needed to. So anyway, I went through a whole time of really, sort of that, culminated in making a CD and then writing this book called In the Fever of Love, and I had almost this kind of like messianic feeling about it, like, yes, we can do this. We can put love at the center of our tradition, of our lives, of our world, and let it all, let that perspective hold sway, in everything that we do. And then, I had a kind of a crash, afterwards, because I felt like, well, not many people were very interested in this book, and not many people understood what it meant or cared about it. And it was like, I remember even one of my students calling me and saying, I don't get it, it's just poetry. And my heart just sank, because this was, it was such kind of a wake up, like, oh, okay, and the kind of a deep discouragement set in. And I go through cycles of encouragement and discouragement, but on Tu B'Av, there was this message that there's something that the world is ready for that maybe it wasn't ready for before. And the message was to put love at the center. And the message was what the only way to do that is to do the same thing that we've done for Torah. What we do in Torah is that all of the Jewish people read the same parsha every week. And it kind of spirals into us over the years. The story of creation and liberation and journey just becomes part of us. It sinks in over repetition and exploration, and just becomes our story. And so the message was the same thing has to happen with the story of love. This needs to get in there in that same way. And so that's how this project, The Love at the Center, really came about. And it's going to begin with Shabbat Breshit, and what is it? It's going to begin with Shabbat Breshit, and every week people who sign up are going to receive an email with just a couple lines from the Song of Songs, and it'll take a year for us to make through the whole cycle, so that we can really immerse in it, and it can penetrate in, that it's magic, because it is a mystical text. And it's, some people think it's just about sentiment or romance, and it's not. It's, it's really the core connection between the finite and the infinite, and its power is that it draws us in to the larger reality. It connects us in that way to the larger being that we are. So, but we tend to want things now, and to be given a project that could take the rest of our lives, however long that is, that it's not meant to you're going to get it, right? We're going to go through it in a year and then you'll have it. No, it's actually just a path. It's a path. So I want to be able to step on that path with you, and to just bring you a couple of different practices from Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. And I'll just say one of my inspirations is Rabbi Akiva, who kind of saved this text when it was being decided which text to keep and which to throw out way back in the 2nd century. And he said, all the Torah is holy, but the Song of Songs is the Holy of Holies, meaning it needs to be at the center. That's where the Holy of Holies is, the center. And he said, had the Torah not been given, we could live our lives by the Song of Songs. And then, so that becomes then the main question as I read this text is, how do I live it? I don't want to know it up here. I want to know it in a way that I am living it. So the first practice that I want to share with you, I call it kisses, or kiss me, kisses. And at the very beginning of Shir Shirim, you know, there's a kind of a title, kind of, Shir Shirim Asher Lishlomo, and then it says, okay, here we go. We're taking this journey, and we say, right in the beginning, we say, kiss me, but not just a little peck on the cheek. No, kiss me with the kisses of your mouth. So it's about, this is kind of a juiciness, a kind of an eroticism, and it points to a kind of a stance, right there, a stance of life, a stance in relationship to our lives, which I call it being puckered up, which means that I'm expecting to be kissed by life, by the world, by the color of the sky, by the breeze, and a kiss is not like a passive thing to be kissed. It means that I have to call forth a sense of, and this is like the major metaphor of Song of Songs is the sexual metaphor of arousal. So my whole being needs to be aroused in order to receive that kiss and be intimate with my reality. There's a way we can kind of sit back and watch our lives happen, or we can be engaged, in this kind of embrace of life, and that's where I want to be. And so when I do this chant, it's like kind of attuning me to that stance of the puckered up stance, the place of expectancy, of juiciness, of engagement, of intimacy, and of longing, but not kind of unrequited kind of love longing, but the kind of longing that is just moving us to become more and more alive. So ready?
Pucker up.
shakeni min chikot bihu 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 shakeni min chikot bihu
silence after the chant, feel your lips just soften, ready for that kiss. So there is, the secret of Kabbalah is this possibility of receptivity, that God is loving us, and we work with our own being to become receptive to that love in all its forms. And those forms are sometimes fierce, because love is the power of transformation. And so we open to surrender to, open to allow that love to touch us, to move us, and I think that's the very beginning of the Song of Songs. That's where it starts. So imagine where we're going with that. That's the beginning. Yeah. And I'm going to kind of jump around and say, I wanted to just bring some different aspects of this medicine that I think is transformative. And the practice that I call "Let Me Hear Your Voice" is again an asking, an opening to, and it begins with these words of Chaverim Makshivim. So they're not, so Chaverim Makshivim, the translation is it's the listening friends. These listening friends, Chaverim Makshivim, and I think on one level that's us.
Mm-hmm.
We come into this place of receptivity, of Kabbalah, of receptivity, where we are listening to the voice of Shekhinah. So Chaverim Makshivim lekolech, and lekolech is listening to the voice of the Shekhinah, that divine presence that is hidden, that is immanent, that is always present, but we don't always have access to it until we come to the place of deep listening, of inner stillness, of openness to miracle. So Chaverim Makshivim lekolech, and then the last word in Hebrew says Hashmi'ini, and you see that word Shema is in the middle of that, which means let me hear it. Let me hear it. Let it happen to me. And and then the next words I have in English, a woman in the garden. So the Song of Songs ends in this garden with someone who is lingering there in the garden, a feminine presence that's lingering there, a woman in the garden. And as I was composing this chant, I said, well, what garden? And then a voice said to me, this garden of love. And suddenly my eyes were opened for just a moment, and I looked at the world and I said, oh, this garden of love. I didn't even know I was in this garden of love, because it's so crazy. Yes, this garden of love, a woman in the garden, this garden of love. Let me hear your voice. And so this is kind of where the song, this is the beginning. We begin with that pucker up place, and we end in the garden. And So I'll just tell you one little story about the Chaverim Makshivim, because I think they are actually the ones who are bringing this project through me right now. So at one point, after Kzoom ended, and I was looking to see, like, oh, how can I do my work? I'm so sad not to have my training course, and what can I do? Who will help me? And suddenly it was as if there was a finger pointing down from the heavens into the text of the Song of Songs, and it was pointing to these words, Chaverim Makshivim. And I said, oh, is that who you are? And I got a big yes. And then I had this wonderful experience. I called up my friend. I think maybe I was at a conference, and I talked to my friend Elliot Ginsberg, who's a great scholar of Kabbalah, and I said, Elliot, do you know anything about Chaverim Makshivim? And he said, oh yeah. He said, they were the students of a secret society of the students of Moshe Cordovero in the 16th century in Tzfat. And they were a secret society. They called themselves the Chaverim Makshivim. And I said, well, they've been in touch. And I have a feeling that this Love at the Center project is also guided by the Chaverim Makshivim. So we want to call them in and step into the garden, which is the garden of possibilities, the garden where somehow the veil falls away and we see the love that is there for us in this world. So I think it's powerful practice, and is a practice of also connecting us as the Chaverim Makshivim, the listening friends, and the way that we magnify each other's listening. When I'm with someone who is in that state, it is contagious. It opens me up, and that's what we can do for each other. So let's just again take a look around the Zoom room to look like, oh, Chaverim Makshivim.
There they are.
There they are. There they are. There they are. How beautiful. And we come into a place of listening together. Just take a moment of listening inside the heart. And sometimes when I meditate, it's as if I'm sort of cocking my head in this way of listening to the inside. I kind of oh, and it's the still small voice, but it's also a stance. So we have the puckering up stance, and then the stance of listening inwardly, so that the Shekhinah can speak.
Chaverim Makshivim lekoleh Hashmini Chaverim Makshivim lekoleh Hashmini Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Chaverim Makshivim lekoleh Hashmini Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Haverim Makshivim Lekole Hashmini Hashmini. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice. Oh, woman in the garden, this garden of love, let me hear your voice.
In the silence, let's take a minute or so to listen inward. So there's something about that word Shema, listen, that's different than just hearing something. It has in it the nuance of obedience too. And I remember, I learned this a long time ago. When I was a little kid, my mother said, "You're not listening." And it wasn't that I wasn't hearing what my mother said; I wasn't obeying. And that meaning in the Shema is that so important that we're not only listening to the Shekhinah, we are commanded by her. We are compelled. We are, we obey her. Obey the force of that love. We surrender to it. We allow ourselves to be instruments of that love in the world in whatever way we can. And so, and I think that's what, the idea of how do you live it, because it's so possible to have all these texts in our heads and actually be cut off from, from how we live. And there can be a kind of a dissonance between what we know and how we live. And so this practice that we're in is to bridge that gap. And so between that kiss and that place in the garden, there's a whole long drama of, that is the drama of our lives of being drawn in and pulling away and learning through that coming close and going far away again. We learn through that whole process. And I chose a practice that I call In His Shade, because it feels like a way of saying, I'm going to place myself, so first I place myself in that stance of the kiss, and at the end I place myself in that stance of listening. And in the middle, what I want to do is open to the pleasure of this life. It's like, because that's how God wants to love me. So, B'tzilo chimadati v'yashavti, in His shade, and His shade is a sense of protection, is a sense of ultimate safety, in which I can relax and unfold and allow, a kind of a process of self-realization, God-realization to happen. And it can't happen if I'm holding on so tight. I need to let go. I need to allow it. And in order to do that, I lean back against that tree of life in His shade, and I delight. I sit there and open to the pleasure of existence itself. And then I taste. I really taste it. I taste it with all of my being. And tasting His sweet fruits. So to me, this is, really about surrendering, opening, going into sanctifying the pleasure of existence. And in a way, this is what brings me to that state of soul arousal, really. And it's a discipline. It's, even though it sounds so yummy, like, we don't always do it, right? There's so much else that we get distracted by, and our brains have this negative bias that keeps us from the fullness of the pleasure of our being. So it takes a discipline to bring our attention to beauty and to pleasure, and to sanctify that and take it in. So let's do that.
Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Ufiryo matok lachiki Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti Bitsilo Himarti Vyashavti מתוק לחיקי ופריו מתוק לחיקי ופריו מתוק לחיקי ופריו מתוק לחיקי.
Once more, really let it in.
בצילו חימרתי וישבתי בצילו חימרתי וישבתי בצילו חימרתי וישבתי בצילו חימרתי וישבתי.
And his fruit was sweet to my taste. And his fruit was sweet to my taste.
And his fruit was sweet to my taste. And his fruit was sweet to my taste.
And let us say,
Yum.
So one last practice that I wanted to bring, and it's called the heart seal. And the idea of a seal is like an imprint. It's like allowing God to say, "You're mine." I'm going to imprint you with that divine essence. And I mean, it's true anyway. We are all. That is our inner essence. I have this quote from Rav Kook up on my wall here. It says, "The core of freedom is to be loyal to our inner essence, to the Tzelem Elohim, to the divine image that is within us." But we get disconnected from that divine imprint, and the Song of Songs is meant to reconnect us. There's this kind of a gap between the divine and the human, and the Song of Songs has bridged that gap with these magic words. Simeni kachotam alibecha. Set me as a seal upon your heart. And we say, the Song of Songs, every word of the Song of Songs is God's word to us, and every word of the Song of Songs is our word to God. So God saying, "Set me as a seal upon your heart," is saying, be imprinted with that divine essence. Allow it to move you in your life. And we're also saying to God, "Set me as a seal upon your heart." This is, the heart of God is like the essence of reality. And my own unique being is imprinted upon that essence. And so it's a very chutzpah thing, I think, a wonderful thing to be able to say, yes, I am part of this, this the fabric of this divinity, and I'm touching it with my life now. and imprinting my essence on it. And it is imprinting on me. And sometimes I do that through the divine qualities, to say what divine quality do I want to right now be a seal on my heart, something that I forget, something I want to remember. What is that quality that I want to bring into my depths, really? And so I thought we would do this practice, to see. And afterwards, we can take a few minutes with each other to share what that imprint is. What are we asking for to be imprinted with? What divine quality do we want to live right now in our lives? And we can meet each other and share what that is. But first, let's sort of I guess hold what that quality is on your heart for a moment, and we'll see if we can, with the chant, really put it inside us.
welcome, Alibeka.
I invite you to put your hand on your heart and to feel that seal of that divine quality enter your being, imprinted, claimed. Let it penetrate. So be to look at the chat a little bit here. Yeah.
Rep.
So I wanted to encourage you to go to my website and sign up for Love at the Center, so that you can. It's not going to start till October, but and to spread the word about this. And it was interesting that the quality that I got was really this reminder to not be attached to outcome, but to be totally loyal to the vision that I have, even though I have no idea. I plant the seeds and I have no idea what grows. It's not up to me. So it's a good. I needed to get that a little deeper inside. Oh yeah. So I invite you also to keep us going in this work, to go to our website and to donate money in honor of whatever you are receiving, or whatever you want to do to honor the work that we're doing. And also, David Blumenstein reminds everybody that you can also sign up for that I'm going to be doing High Holy Days on Zoom, and this kind of a journey that we'll take, that I'm excited about, and so it will, and part of that journey is that next week we are moving into the month of Elul, which is our time of preparation for the High Holy Days. And I'd like, the idea of Elul is, like, the message is up your practice. And so I want to make our Kzoom just a little bit longer, and to make the breakout group more integral to the Kzoom. We'll have 10 or 15 minutes during the Kzoom, which will be part of what our preparation for during Elul will be. And so what do you think? Are you willing to go a little bit longer? Yeah, just so that we can have that. We can really enter into that process together of Elul, and those people who are doing the High Holy Day journey are going to be here with us to make this all of a piece, all of a journey. So now I'm going to send you to your breakout rooms, and to introduce yourselves, and if you want to share something about what it is that you want to be imprinted with, or something that you received from this time together. And so so anybody who's leaving, you can leave now, so that we can then, everyone who is left, we can, wait a minute, put you in a room together. How about, all right, I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay.
And you'll come back in like
10 minutes.
10 minutes or so, and we'll say goodbye. So they're now going to take like 4 people to a room, or 3 or 4. That's what it's made of.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Some people
3 or 4.
didn't join. So
Yeah.
if you didn't join, you could join. You see something to say join? Okay. Luna didn't join. Raz, did you join? I don't know if she knows how to. Yeah? Where is Raz?
Where is she?
Oh, I'm going to